Of course, you are 10-6. Time now is 12:24 p.m. Have fun, drive safely, and call if you need anything at all. Base clear.
I think what we do here is important for a number of reasons. We get people to where they need to go, and not just across campus from one side of campus to the other, from class to class, but we get people from homes who aren't necessarily students, from their homes to doctor's appointments, to stores, to supermarkets. We're moving people who may not have a way to get elsewhere around the community.
You provide free public transit, and that's something that anybody should have access to, just a means to go around throughout the place where you live, to go to and from your home, go shopping. That's something that everyone should have an access to, and that's what we're here to do, and I'm happy that I get to help people do that.
I think what we do here is important for a multitude of reasons, and not in the way that some might think. My job specifically in service is important because people don't necessarily notice service when we're here, but I think that they would notice if we were gone. Any little thing that's going wrong in the garage or en route or on the buses or at the bus stops, we're kind of like there to pick up the slack, there to, do the small fixes that nobody else will do. Get rid of the dead skunk in the wheel well of the 60-footer. We're there to do the grunt work. We're there to do the job that nobody else wants to do. We're kind of like the DPW of transit.
I think the public perceives us in a couple of different ways. I think many of them don't even know we're here. The people that ride definitely know we're here, and I think they're glad to have us here. And I think other people see us as big, giant, slow-moving vehicles that are in their way.
I've heard people say really good things. I've heard people say really bad things. So it's a mixed bag, but I think people tend to have a more positive view of us, though.
I think that for a lot of the college kids, they just, get on the bus with their heads down on their phones, ride it to class, don't think twice. It's just their mode of transportation. But what they don't know is how cool their bus driver is, or how long they spent getting their CDL, or what other things that they specialize in at the garage. Like a lot of public service, people don't think twice that there's a person behind the wheel. They just kind of see us as a cog in the system. This is our garage. It houses over 30 different buses. Here's the east side. We've got 8 lanes, 3 buses per lane. We've got all of our buses out en route right now, except for a few that the mechanics are working on. And then over here, we've got our run side. We just recently repainted all of the lines on the run side this summer. This summer, I worked with my assistant service manager to repaint the lines in the garage. And that sounds like such a mundane project, but it was so much more in-depth than you would think it was. We had to do research on the type of paint you use and how reflective it is, and do the exact measurements to make sure that all of our buses can fit perfectly in this garage, where there is exactly enough room for each of our buses, and if we get one little thing wrong, then it might not be perfectly straight and the buses might not fit perfectly in the garage. And we were on our hands and knees, sanding down the floor, getting scuffed up. At the end, there were these brilliantly straight yellow lines, and we were so proud of it, and people kind of walked in and were like, oh, looks good. Now I know that it'll probably last years, so even if I'm gone, people are still gonna be using the lines that I drew. Over here is our wash bay. This is our giant bus washer that cleans all of the buses. We have 4 of these massive brushes that get turned on, close in, turn around, and clean the buses thoroughly. Back here we have our reclaim water system. It's kind of a more eco-friendly way to wash our buses. So instead of using an enormous amount of water every night, on U Crew, which is our team that cleans the buses every night. We actually reuse the water in these drains, which get cleaned out every Wednesday. This is U Crew. This is where we wash all of our UMass Transit buses. We have a crew of about 6 people working hard back there, and it's really just a team effort to get these buses as clean as possible. Right here behind me is our bus washer. Pretty cool stuff. In the front of our bypass bay, we have a little inspection bay where our mechanics do inspections on all of our state vehicles and all of the PVTA buses. Over here we've got the hippie bench. In bypass, it's got all of our PPE, personal protective equipment. We've got safety glasses, hearing protection, high vis. It's equipped with a lot of our tools, grease guns, screwdrivers. This is our flatbed truck from 1978. It's currently yarded for a transmission issue, but it's usually what we take to go to the dump. These are our mini Zambonis, I like to call them. We've got our sweeper over here, scrubber over here. They run off of diesel and we use them to clean the floors every Friday.
Working here I would say it has improved my life, and it's definitely changed my life. You know, the time I've spent here, I've learned an enormous amount about how to deal with people, especially in our employee age group between like 18 and 22, 23 years old. I've learned a lot from those people and about them and how to make them comfortable at their work, how to provide them a safe place to work. And it's made me a better person because it has definitely allowed me to keep a younger person's perspective on things, because while I continually get older every year, the people I work with don't. You know, their faces change and their names change, but they're always in that age group. And I get to watch them come in the door as a 19-year-old freshman who makes bad choices and leaves here as a graduating senior, or even as a grad student, and they're in charge of the place. They have not only, gone through their school, but they've come out the other end of this place as a pretty much fully realized adult ready to go off into the world. And I get to watch that year after year, and I love that. That is probably my favorite thing about being here, is watching that happen.
Whenever we have to set up any detours or we get any road calls from a bus that might be leaking fluid, we send out the service van, which is what I'm in right now. And we have spill kits in here, we have detour signs, temporary bus stop signs. This is our dispatch area. We have our DS computer standing for driver supervisor and RO computer standing for radio operator. We're currently training a kind of new round of radio operators, and this is where the magic happens.
So another huge part of UMass Transit services are our accessible van services. I'm currently dispatching for the vans, but we provide transportation around campus for students and faculty with either temporary or permanent mobility impairments. So all of our vans have accessible lifts to help people get on and off easily, and we go to all the different buildings on campus and transport people to and from classes, dorms, dining halls, things like that.
What people might not realize is that UMass Transit is a lot different than PVTA as a whole, than public transit as a whole. We have so much personality, and we are a very young, diverse group of people. I think that a lot of workers here find a strong sense of community here. I know I did. We're kind of all oddballs and theater kids and somewhere on the spectrum, or and I think that we're all just so much unique personality coming together. And like sometimes we goof off and sometimes we're, you know, like working over 40 hours a week. At the end of the day, we always come together as like friends and coworkers, and there's a super strong sense of community. And I think that that's really important for a lot of the kids that work here.
I think people should consider coming to work here for a few reasons. First of all, it's hard. It is a hard job. It's easier to get hired, but it's hard to complete that process and get on the road. But when you do that, you are going to learn and grow as a person faster than you would outside of here, just if you didn't come here at all. This is a great place to grow professionally, and it's a great place to grow personally. You can come in here and it's a job, but it's also a job where you will meet friends that you'll have for the rest of your life.
It's good to like make friends with people from all different parts of the state, so that's something I've really been happy to do. It's maybe more professional too. This is the second main job I've had. My first one was with my uncle, so you know when you have a job with family, it's professional, but like sometimes it's like not, because you know there are demands, but like because they're your family, they can like make exceptions for that. Here at Transit, it's taught me to be more like disciplined and more like keeping my mind professional, getting like things done when they're supposed to be done, arriving to my stops on time, just all of that. And I thought that's been like really helpful professionally.
I was actually kicked out of my apartment, and I think like 5 or 6 coworkers showed up. Like I think I mentioned it to them, and they were like, great, I'll be there. And these were like people that I'd never hung out with outside of work before. They just showed up. They like drove a half hour to like come like help me like pack up. It was like this emergency situation, and I had so many people offering, you know, like their couches, their spare bedroom, like anything they could do to help. And that just made me feel like I had this sense of community, this like place, these people that I could fall back on if I needed to. I think before that, I was kind of missing that sense of like having a place that I belonged. And I do feel like working at Transit has given me a place where I feel like I belong. So even though I might not always work here, it's definitely always going to feel a little bit like home.